Russia begins a major anti-terror operation in the Syrian provinces of Homs and Idlib using its biggest naval vessel. Meanwhile, for a 29th day now, Moscow is holding back on airstrikes against militant positions in Aleppo. Clashes erupt in Greece as Barack Obama visits the NATO member in a bid to cement ties with the US before Donald Trump moves into the Oval Office.
Disgusted as I am with Donald Trump, I hope that precisely the shock of electing him will maybe trigger some restructuring of the entire political space.
Prominent Slovenian philosopher Slavoi Zizek explains why he thinks Donald Trump's presidency will trigger restructuring of the entire US political system. And a French industrial giant faces legal action over claims it paid taxes to Islamic State in Syria to keep one of its factories working. The company, meantime, denies any business links with terrorists. Just turning midday here in Moscow. Thanks for joining us. It's RT International. In the wake of the US election, Russia has resumed pounding Syrian militant positions with increased ferocity, with its biggest ship now coasted up off the coast of Syria. The flagship of the Russian naval group taking part in the operation is that aircraft carrier right there, the Admiral Kuznetsov, Russia's largest ship and only aircraft carrier. An RT crew is currently on board, and Igor Zhdanov filed this report.
We are currently on the way to Admiral Kuznetsov, the flagship of the Russian Navy in Syria. It will take this search and rescue helicopter roughly 30 minutes to get there from the Russian air base in Latakia, as we will be landing on the aircraft carrier itself.
This is Russia's largest warship. Almost 2,500 people man the Kuznetsov. When we arrived, it was abuzz with activity. The Kuznetsov is carrying dozens of brand new fighter jets as well as combat and search and rescue helicopters. They've been busy carrying out practice flights and perfecting takeoffs, landings and air maneuvers, with the ultimate goal, of course, of defeating terrorism in Syria. This fighter jet is fully ready for combat, and one of the armaments it carries is this bomb. It's a high-precision weapon. It weighs 500 kilograms and explodes within 1.5 meters from a target. And with the last preparations complete, it's time for action. Fighter jets have just taken off from the Admiral Kuznetsov for the first time for an actual combat mission, on which they will target terrorist command centers, weapons factories and stockpiles in the Syrian provinces of Idlib and Homs. But their mission is only part of the greater tactical game plan. Another Russian warship, the Admiral Grigorovich, led by the Kuznetsov, launched strikes with Caliber missiles, high-precision weapons capable of hitting a target from thousands of kilometers away and virtually impossible to shoot down. While from the Syrian coast, a Bastion system battered terrorist positions with supersonic Onyx missiles. We didn't see that from the carrier, but we weren't short on spectacle. But formidable air power and size aren't the only things that make the Admiral Kuznetsov special. Unlike many other warships in its class, Admiral Kuznetsov is actually capable of defending itself. For example, these Kinjal or dagger missiles, their main purpose is defending this aircraft carrier from incoming aerial attacks. And as a whole, Admiral Kuznetsov can also protect itself from enemy warships and planes. The Admiral Kuznetsov did not come alone. It is leading a naval group of about 10 warships, and their presence hasn't gone unnoticed. This helicopter is not from any of the ships in this naval group, and it has been watching us for days.
Our commanders, our officers on this ship are telling us that it is from one of the NATO's warships in the region.
Igor Zhdanov from Admiral Kuznetsov, RT.